What's going on, my friend? It's Jeff Newport from ChasingStrength.com. And in today's video, we are discussing body weight exercises that can actually make your kettlebell training stronger. Yeah, really? Yep. Let's dive into it. Plus, I'll provide you with a sample workout. So let me ask you a question. Did you know that there are actually specific body weight exercises that, when added to your kettlebell training program, makes your kettlebell work stronger? In fact, one of my favorite program combinations is adding very specific body weight exercises or even workouts, training sessions, right, into my kettlebell training program. For example, when I was recently traveling for business, I was only doing body weight exercises because I didn't have any access to kettlebells. So here's a sample workout. This is exactly what I did at a workout park outside, which is beautiful, by the way. Okay, I'm going to digress here for a minute, but if you get a chance to train outside in the sunlight and the beautiful weather, especially if it's by like a lake or a river or an ocean, do that 10 times out of 10. Okay, so we'll flash this up here on the screen. Here was the sample. This is exactly what I did. Okay, I did parallel dips for 10, wide grip pull-ups to the throat for 5, walking lunges for 10 to 20 steps per leg, and then hanging leg raises for 5. And I did them as a circuit, which is why we've designated this A1, A2, A3, A4. I did 10 rounds of the circuit, right, with the exception of the hanging leg raises, which I did 9 because I threw them in after my first circuit. So how long did this take me? Longer than I normally advocate. So it took me 59 minutes and 12 seconds to do 100 dips, 50 wide grip pull-ups, 130 walking lunges, and 45 hanging leg raises. And the reason it took me so long is because I'd been sitting in a conference room for the last 2.5 days and needed some fresh air and some sunshine, and I was in no rush. And by the way, none of those sets even approached getting close to failure. Now, let me tell you the very particular way I perform these exercises and how they improve my kettlebell work, and most likely how they will improve yours too. All right, first of all, the dips, pull-ups, and hanging leg raises all decompress the spine, which increases your recovery and decreases your stress on the nervous system. Second, the walking lunges balance the tension between your hip flexors, muscles in the front of your pelvis, right, in the front of your body, and the glutes, so your butt. And they can even work your abs, right? They're great if you have tight hips, which most of us do if we sit a lot. And as I mentioned, I've been sitting a lot for about 2.5 days. Third, and here's the most important point I want to make, all the hanging exercises were performed using what's called a hollow hold, okay? The dips were the exception, right? That's because I was using low bars, so I had to tuck my knees behind me for about half the reps, okay? Now, here is why it's important to know all that for your kettlebell strength, especially with regard to the hollow position. The hollow position is supposed to be part of the human developmental sequence, okay, which is a period of time from about 0 minutes old, maybe slightly before, as baby descends the birth canal, okay, to about 18 months to 3 years, depending on who you talk to. And that is the period of time where a child, an infant, becomes a toddler, right, becomes about 3 years old and learns how to go from a pooping, peeing, crying mess, right, that giggles and spits up on you, to something that remotely resembles a human and can walk upright. Okay, so in fact, I've got some pictures of my daughter when she was about 7 months old of her doing a hollow hold. We got a video of her doing it, but I can't find it right now, so I'm not going to include it. Anyway, the point is the hollow position trains and strengthens the anterior chain, the muscles on the front of your body, okay, which basically run from here, right here, underneath your chin, all the way down to the tips of your toes, all right? They are responsible, those muscles, the anterior chain, for flexing your trunk and decelerating torso extension, okay, which means resisting leaning back, okay? So I want to just make that point again. The anterior chain is responsible for decelerating torso extension, okay? And why am I bringing this up? Because this is a major technique issue with many kettlebell users. They lean back at the top of their swings. Now, I'm not talking about using a heavy bell and, you're slightly leaning back and there's a straight line between the base of your skull, the tip of your skull, right, and the bottom of your feet. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where you push your hips through and we see a kink in the body like this, okay? So you're actually leaning back. Now, this is, how do I say this? It's bad, okay? It's bad because the lean can actually compress the vertebrae and other spinal structures and actually cause some injury. Now, the fact of the matter is many people can't reach the hollow position correctly, and that decreases their power output when they perform their kettlebell ballistics, all right? Now, some people maybe you, right, have used hollow holds at some time in the past, but unfortunately, most people just don't perform them correctly, even though they think they do, right? Let me explain why. So their abs or their midsection actually tense, okay? It literally creates either a point in the middle or a ridge, right, from top to bottom when they flex their midsection. In other words, instead of when they do a hollow hold, their midsection flattens out. They pick their legs up and they pick their head up, and their midsection looks like this. Okay, that makes sense. So you see this right up the front of their body. Okay, the only way you know is to film yourself, check it yourself, or have somebody who knows what they're doing, right, tell you. Okay. Now, what's the deal with the tent and why is that important? Well, the tenting is your body telling you that it is lacking what's called reflexive core stability, which we've covered in other videos on this channel. Okay. And that reflexive core stability is what's responsible for you being able to stabilize your spine and pelvis using what's called your inner unit, right? The group of muscles responsible for creating intra-abdominal pressure and creating spinal stability, and therefore systemic stabilization of the body as a whole. Okay. Now, having this reflexive core stability deficit can and will lead to injury in most cases the more you continue to load your body. In fact, that's how I hurt my lumbar spine and tore the labrum in both my hips. Okay. Although I didn't know it at the time. Okay. I was using all the latest, greatest techniques, right, for core stabilization. Now, the cool thing is there are exercises that you can use to recapture your reflexive core stability, and you can use them to cement them, right? Cement in caps here, caps. These are caps. These are quotes, air quotes, right? So, which we often use that in this channel, right? You can cement them, make your abs stronger using exercises like hollow holds. In fact, I strongly recommend you learn how to do the hollow holds correctly, then learn more other advanced exercises like hanging leg raises. I'll show you the progressions and regressions you can use to rebuild your hollow holds inside my new program called Systematic Core Training for Kettlebells. Make it the foundation of your floor work, which is where you should start all your core strength training. And you should start your core strength training, after you've done your stability training and recaptured your reflexive core stability work, which again, I mentioned earlier in this video and other videos. And I know it sounds somewhat complicated because, well, it is, but it becomes easy to follow when you use the SSP model inside Systematic Core Training for Kettlebells. Look, if you want or need a stronger core and you want to get more out of your kettlebell training, I strongly recommend you bolt on the program I've created for you inside Systematic Core Training for Kettlebells to your current kettlebell training program, okay? If that sounds good to you, I will leave a link in the video description below for you to check it out, okay? Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, click the like button, smash the subscribe button, and if you want, leave me a comment in the comment section below. And don't forget, if you found this video helpful, share it with a friend, all right? Until next time, my friend, stay strong.